Hello and welcome to the Build with Bear workshop. My name is Pat Bear. I'm here to build a Lego set and to hang out with all of you. And to get things kicked off, unprecedented, I'm going to start by throwing the Bear Cave, the Lego, the site, the Tier 2 blue emote in chat. And if you are currently a subscriber, you can reply with those emotes. If you are not yet a subscriber, you can use other people's emotes. Or if you would like to, you can just be a lurker and hang out. Harold's here. Hello, Harold. Lashbrook is here. Hello, Lashbrook. Harold is referring to something I said before the stream really kicked off, asking, full of salt, more WWBS. No, not really. I meant legitimately. I'm not full of like salt and vinegar. I'm not feeling salty at the moment. Hello, Aristovan. Welcome. I'm literally full of sodium because I had Dominoes and I am feeling bloated from all of the Dominoes. When you cook for yourself so often, like I do, hey, well, welcome, Rubik. Welcome. When you are so full of, when you usually cook for yourself, I control how much salt I take in. And I do use salt in my cooking. Don't get it twisted. I do salt my food. But I haven't had like takeout in a while. So when I had Arby's the other day, wasn't takeout because I went into the place. It was eat in. It was dine in. That was very salty and I felt it. And then today I had Domino's and I felt it. I didn't eat all of it. I'm going to have more for later. Oof, yeah, that was heavy in the body. I am feeling it right now, the amount of salt. Because, and I said this on Twitter, so I'm repeating myself, but I'll say it again. It's tired to get delivery for the big game, the Superb Bowl tomorrow. And instead, it's wired to get delivery the day before. That way you get to celebrate with cool delivery and such. But then you don't have to wait for it forever. And you also don't have to, you're taking a little less stress, or taking away a little bit of stress from the fine people out there making lots of deliveries tomorrow as people realize, oh, I did not make enough food for everybody that's here, or no one's going to cook. Instead, we're all just going to get a big order of delivery and be rude about it for no reason. So we can reduce that a little bit. But I say that, I want to reiterate the important information, which is you should also just get delivery. Don't worry about it. I'm not telling you got to be cooking and you can't be getting takeout delivered or picking up yourself. You deserve it. If you want to just get some food and then eat that food while you're watching the big game or you're watching something else. Maybe you're going to catch up on last night's Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling event that you missed out on. You want to see which team won the Max Hart Tag Team Finals and will face the tag champions at the next big show. You got to know, is it the seasoned veterans or is it the young blood? The girls that are just friends, that even by women's wrestling standards, it is so much subtext. Is Daisy Monkey love each other very much. It's very gay and great, but also very gay. Anyway, let's get into that. I realize I'm confident to say that only one person that watches my streams or my VODs has any idea what I'm talking about when I talk about Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. I'm fairly confident it's just my buddy Ian, and he doesn't watch live all the time. But I'm pretty sure he's the only person that watches my streams that have any real familiarity with Tokyo Joshi, which is okay. So, Harold, kind of. It's more the comparison that we should be giving here is Arsu Endo and Suzume of Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling are the modern equivalent, or the female equivalent of Um, the Golden Lovers. Billy and Chuck were not gay. They were acting gay. Because in storyline, they were going to get married and have a commitment ceremony. And then it was revealed that they were doing it as a stunt. The characters were doing it as a stunt. Obviously, also WWE was doing it as a stunt, but the characters were doing it as a stunt. This is not the storyline that Arisu Endo and Suzume are in a committed relationship with one another or clearly just in love is subtext, but it's so obvious subtext. It's not like a storyline. It is closer to Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi, who are, by all accounts, straight gentlemen. But in the world of professional wrestling, they found each other, and their bond was so strong that it was very clear that even if they were never going to act on it, these two men love each other. It transcends, and that's a little closer to Suzume and Arisu. Should also. Lesper says mine is exclusively from GIFs. Yes, you just see animated GIFs of the gals. You're not engaging on different on your own. Should also say, friends, Wrestle Universe, the streaming service, international streaming service, has a 1 week free trial. You can always pop if you're interested in checking that out. Not every show has English commentary. Their biggest shows do. And it is the best deal in professional wrestling if you want to stream some wrestling, because you get Pro Wrestling Noah, you get DDT, you get Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling, and you get Ganbare. And Ganbare is eventually, it looks like soon, going to be splitting off from... this is the wrong size. It's going to be splitting off, but it will still be on the service. It just won't be owned by Cyberfight, which is the company that owns those other promotions. And it's like $6 or $7 in US prices. It is incredibly cheap for a lot of live streams. There's a ton of stuff that just goes up all the time. Not sponsored. This is not sponsored. This is me advocating. And I know. A thing that I have to be careful about on occasion, friends, is I need to be careful and slightly aware here that I am a white dude who talks a lot about Japanese stuff and also now Korean stuff, because I do read some manhwa, so I do read some South Korean comics. But predominantly a large portion of discussion from me on streams is me telling you about cool Japanese shit. And I try to be aware of that in the guise of culturally when I'm talking about these things. And I am the white guy who is telling you all about women's wrestling in Japan and how I like the quote unquote second best one. I'm not even telling you about Stardom. I'm telling you about Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. I realize that I am often advocating for that stuff, and I do try to be aware of that. But it's good. It's good wrestling. It's good quality wrestling. You get to see young up-and-comers. The show that happened Friday night, our time, Saturday, during the day, their time, involved two rookies. They're starting their second year as professional wrestlers. The night opened with, or the day, night, whatever. The show opened with two rookies wrestling each other. And it was whoever won was going to get their first singles match. Or win, I should say. Their first singles win. Each of them had won some tag team matches, but never had, in the year they had wrestled, had they gotten a singles win. And that was important. That there were stakes. That is a thing in Tokyo Joshi Wrestling that, like, there are stakes. There is a hierarchy. There are fantastic characters. Is there a language barrier for a lot of it? Yes. I follow Mr. Haku, not the wrestler Haku. Mr. Haku is a translator that used to work for Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling, is now independent. He will watch live events, and he will, in English, talk about what's going on there. He is a great resource. There is a blog a fan-run blog that covers all of Cyberfight and their various promotions. That is essential for context, and so I check out those, for context and all that. And then also, their biggest shows do have live English commentary done by professional wrestlers, only one of whom English is his first language, but a variety of very knowledgeable people. They're either very knowledgeable about the product, or they're very knowledgeable about wrestling, because a lot of them are former wrestlers, and that is invaluable. Because when you hear a wrestler turned commentator, or a wrestler who's also commentator, go, make that kind of noise, or laugh, there's a particular laugh that tells you, oh, that fucking hurt, because this person had that is their reaction. It's just to be like, oh, you're like, oh, that is a shoot. That elbow was stiff, I guess, because this person is making a lot of noise to indicate that they would not want to take that move. It's great. Anyway, I very much enjoy those wrestling promotions, and the show on Friday was really good. I mentioned I am full of salt from eating so much Domino's. If you didn't see my post on Twitter, because I am taking photos of all of my meals and cataloging there, all my solo meals, I had a medium-size Domino's pizza with sausage and onion, and then I had the cheesy bread, which I always get. But this cheesy bread, I got the pepperoni cheesy bread, which is basically their cheesy bread, except it's got some pepperoni in it. And that was pretty good. I would describe that as pretty dang good. I want to make sure I get the sticker right. Try to apply the sticker correctly. Because I don't, I want these patterns the patterns aren't going to match perfectly, because they're not one sticker. They're a bunch of different stickers. Well, this is printed on the actual Lego, and then I am applying stickers on top of that. So, it's not going to be perfect, but I would like it to look good if I can. Trying to. And then 17 is a sticker. But yeah, instead of just one big sticker, these are smaller stickers here that we'll be applying. Decals, whatever you want to call it. And then this sticker is like this. Yeah, that's that sticker, right? And then I also theoretically could apply these parts here first and then apply the stickers. Yeah, so this isn't going to be perfect, but it looks fine. And from far away, you wouldn't notice if there was anything off about it. So we'll leave it at that. And of course, we'll have more stickers to apply momentarily. So I'll just leave this over there. So yeah, I'm full of salt. I didn't eat all of it, but I ate enough of it that I'm like, I'm feeling a little bloated. But it was good. It was very good. And I got paid for some jobs yesterday. So today I got groceries. That's a weird thing, right? I've never been able to fully truck this in my head why I do this, but I bought groceries and got groceries delivered today, and then also got dinner delivered. And I probably should have cooked, because I have lots of fresh ingredients, which I refrigerated or froze, but I didn't. Instead, I just made, didn't eat it all. But whatever. I got paid, and I wanted to have good tasting food, so I did that. Good junk. And like I said, in the 20-something days that I have been doing this project, I'll look it up here, because I'll take it there. This is day 23. Day 23 of me buying or making my own meals. So that's 22 days. So, sorry. It's 21 days, because the very first day I had leftovers from the previous night. We went out. My parents went out with me before they went on vacation. So that was leftovers that I just added like a sausage to. It was like a pasta. So that one kind of doesn't count fully, if you want to say. So that's like 21 days of me doing all my cooking, and I just decided I wanted to treat myself to some pizza. It's nice to have nice things sometimes. Yes, Ghost Valve. Also, hi, Ghost Valve. Yeah, sometimes you're just like, whatever. I'm gonna order some food and not think too hard about it and not worry too much about it. So I did that, and I am happy I did because it was tasty. And then, you know, I know what I'm cooking tomorrow. I'm gonna do. I have little mini tortillas, corn tortillas, which I'm going to heat up in a pan, toast those in a pan, and then I have little like steak bites, like little tiny pieces of steak. I'm gonna cook that up in taco seasoning, and then just do some little mini tacos. And I'll definitely do a salad with those. I'll just do a bunch of tacos and a salad, and that'll be my dinner tomorrow. And I'll watch the big game. We'll have the big game on, and hang out with some friends tomorrow in a Discord and watch the big game. And then when the big game's over, we're going to watch the wrestling show that I was talking about, because that's normally what we do on Sunday. Sundays is normally watch some wrestling together. But I watched it early because I'm not confident we're all going to watch it together. So I wanted to watch it, but it's fine. I won't spoil anything to anybody that hasn't read or heard or watched it themselves. So that went well. Other things that we can talk about. In the second hour after our anime talk, when we talk about games, I will talk about some demos because I played more Steam Fest demos. I got a few more of those to talk about. So yeah, we can talk about that. I didn't play a lot of them, but I played enough that I think we'll have something to chat about. But yeah, I went and did a few of those. This is a fun. So on Twitter, there is a meme going around where it's one of those AV carts going around with like a TV strapped to the AV cart, a big cart on wheels, and there's a VCR, and it's like, what did you watch on this in school? Right? It's just a prompt, and a bunch of people were talking about the movies, and I said that it was Star Trek 4. The science and English class combined together. They were back to back. Hey, Akito. And we watched Star Trek 4, as in two classes back to back. It was probably like the end of the year, like the end of the school year, like as a treat or whatever. That was very fun to watch. I remember watching Aladdin in Espanol in Spanish class. Definitely did that when the both Spanish teachers were sick and no sub was qualified to teach it. We watched Aladdin. We watched most of Aladdin. That was cool. I'm trying to think, but the one that I remember was we watched not a contemporarily old version of Romeo and Juliet. And there was male nudity in it. We saw Romeo's butt at one point, like naked ass. And that was shocking at the time. It's like, oh, fuck. That's that guy's butt. We saw a guy's butt. I don't remember how old I was when that happened, but it was like, oh, scandalous. That got me thinking, though, about I don't think on stream I've ever talked about The Lottery. The short story, The Lottery. Spoiler alert, you don't want to win that lottery because you're going to get stoned to death for the good harvest or to prevent people dying. Or sorry, I don't remember why the bad thing happens in the lottery, except you don't want to win the lottery. But we read that, I think, in 7th grade, and it was like early in the school year. I know it was early in the school year. We'd done like one other thing, and then we were going to do that. That was what we're going to go to. And nobody knew what the next thing was, but it was, it was 7th grade, so we were going to read something, and then that was going to be a school unit of us talking about the thing. And if I can be so bold as to say, since it was 7th or 8th grade, we probably talked about it way too much. I remember when we did Lord of the Flies, it felt like we were creating symbolism of things that were not supposed to be symbolic because we had dived so far into it. Let's try that here. That made a slight difference. Okay. I just remember that being like, oh, overwrought. So what am I talking about here? In the case of the lottery, right? Now, you and I know what the lottery is, in a sense, right? It is deciding via a lottery, drawing straws, who will die, right? That's the thing, right? And it's a shame, and you find out at the end that's the twist. And it's good for contemporary young reading and all that because you're not expecting it. So before we read that, our English teacher, 7th grade, our English teacher is like, again, it's early in the school year, and our English teacher is like, all right, everybody, before we move on to the next thing, I have some news. We have to move a student to the other A English class, okay, whatever. We need to move a student to the other class to balance things out. And this is the perfect time to do it because they just finished up whatever we had also finished up. So we're going to do that. And I decided the best way to do that is to have you as a class decide who's going to go. So we'll figure out amongst yourselves. So you can vote if you want, or nominate, or someone can volunteer, but someone's going to have to go to the other class. Now, you and I, adults, understand that's not how this works. This is a lesson, and then we're going to read the lottery understanding this lesson of this moment that we're having here, right? You and I understand that. That this teacher is not putting this into the students. And you might say to yourself, well, Pat, obviously this is a lesson. It's 7th graders, so not everyone's going to pick up on that. But even if they don't pick up on it, that's not a big deal. Who cares? And to that I say, not everyone cared. There were some people that did not care at all, but a lot of people cared very much. And a thing that was not unique to my school, but is a thing that was certainly true in a bunch of small schools like mine, is that my class in 7th grade, not my individual class of like 20 students or whatever, but the grade, 7th grade, there were about 100 students in 7th grade. And I would say about 90 of those students were in the previous year. And like 90 were in the previous year to that. When we graduated from high school as a class of like 112, people were talking about how surprising it was that Elliot was on the student council, because of course Elliot had moved here in 6th grade and all the friendships were already decided. Like, it was a very close-knit thing. The cliques were present, and in 7th grade, you probably had a friend in another class, but you knew everyone. I knew everyone in my class. It was tight-knit. So the idea that someone had to leave, well, immediately it was like, well, it's got to be one of 10 people. Half the class is guaranteed to not go because they know each other. They want to stay together. It's like the twins aren't good. One of the twins isn't going to go. There are some people that don't care, but most people cared a lot. So there was discussion. There was like, I don't want to do this. Like, oh, why don't you, don't you play tennis with so-and-so? You could go there. Oh no, well, we walk home, after school. So like we should be able to leave exact same time and all this stuff. I must tell you, viewers, that at this point, I know, because I'm not saying that, oh, I'm a genius and everyone's stupid. I'm not the only person that knew this. But also, I had read the lottery. I had already read it over the summer because my mom is an English teacher. She's a high school English teacher. She wasn't my high school English teacher, but she was a high school English teacher. I read a lot of what I need. I knew what I needed for the year, and I read every short story over the summer so that I could slack off in class, because I would have to do assignments and homework, but I wouldn't have to do reading at night. She was not my high school English teacher either. No, John, she was not yours either. No, fairly certain. I do not believe that anyone watching right now had my mom as a high school English teacher. They are out there, and occasionally they find me on the internet, and they're like, "Oh, your mom was my your mom was my high school English teacher. I'm 10 years older than you, or 5 years younger than you." Like it does come up because there are only so many bears out there. So the chance that I'm the son of their English teacher, it happens. So I already read the lottery. I already knew what this was. I'm also a shitty. I'm a smart dummy jerk. So I'm already like, well, even if I hadn't read the lottery, I know this isn't how this works. You don't move people like this. You don't get to do this. And I will say this. I didn't raise my hand and go, hey, this is bullshit. Can we just move on? Like, I'm not that guy, because we weren't doing work. Because that's the reason why I read over the summer, is so that during the school year, I'd have less homework, because I had already done the reading assignment. I just have to refresh it myself of what was going on. It's all selfish reasons. I wasn't like psyched to learn. I was trying to do the least amount of work possible. So I wasn't going to be like, hey, this is bullshit. We just get on to the lesson. So I didn't say anything. Dirty says, but my friend's mom was the health science and sex ed teacher for our high school. Nice. Quick fun fact for some of you that may know the podcast Hollywood Handbook. Sean Clements, who I was on an improv team with, his mom worked at my high school, and my mom and his mom knew each other. Sean and I didn't know each other until we were both in New York doing comedy. Because she didn't work, she worked for the school, not as a teacher. So I didn't know Mrs. Clements, but I did. But our parents knew each other, and that was the world is small and weird, very strange. But the chances, it's more likely that one of you has listened to the podcast Hollywood Handbook than had my mom as an English teacher. It's just more likely, so I'll mention that. But anyway, I didn't say shit, because why was I going to say shit, right? The teacher's just about get ready to ask everyone, all right, well, who is it going to be? We're going to nominate? Should we draw straws? Like, I can see it in his eyes. He is about to do this shit. He is going for it. When the unthinkable happens, a girl starts fucking crying. Apparently, quietly and persistently, someone has been telling this girl that she should volunteer, and it made that girl cry. The captain of the volleyball team was putting direct and consistent pressure on another girl from the volleyball team that she did not like, trying to get that girl to go to the other class, hoping that the girl someone that was coming in, or not coming in, that's right. No, they're hoping to separate them because it would make her life better. I found this out later when the tea was spilled, probably years later. I feel like I didn't know that at the time. At the time, I don't know either of these girls that well. I know their names, but I don't know what the deal is. But yeah, a girl has been quietly bullying another girl to volunteer. And that girl's response is to have an emotional breakdown. which is not a laughing matter by any means. Seventh grade emotions are still emotions. That sadness is not just in this moment. It is a compound of many things. School is fucking hard for people. It's rough out there. So I am not laughing. But I am saying that if all the possible outcomes out there, it was the least predictable and therefore was kind of interesting that we ended up with in that scenario of like, oh shit. So then the teacher has to be like, okay, all right, we're doing the lottery. No one's going to have to leave. We're doing the lottery. I was trying to get you in the mindset so we can read the lottery. And I also have to point out the thing that I said to my mother when I came home that day. I did not talk about the crying, but I did say, Mom, you know the lottery, right? And my mom said, yes, of course. You're going to be reading that. And I was like, yeah. If you didn't know about the lottery, would you do this and then explained it? And my mom said, no. Now you're going to be looking for it when you read the lottery. Of course, obviously I had already read it. But yeah, so it was like, you do that. I mean, you don't do it at all. But it was so weird because it was just like, okay, now read the lottery. It's unrelated to what we just did here. Wink. Like, what are we doing? Anyway, that comes back to my mind every now and again as a thing where I'm like, that teacher must have thought that they were being so cool. Like they were really like gonna reach us and really put us in the place of the various characters in the lottery. But instead, they just opened the door for bullying. I don't know if I have any other. I have no school thing that reaches that level at all as a like, what are we fucking doing here? Like, I don't think anything in my school gets anything close to that. Should just say my middle school years, the intermediate school, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, my school system was kindergarten through kindergarten through 2nd, 3, 4, and 5 middle school, 6, 7, 8 intermediate school, and then 9, 10, 11, 12 high school. And then there was one high school, but there was like 2 intermediary schools. Like you had 2 different, everyone was in 6, 7, 8 together, but 1 through 2 or kindergarten through 2. I don't know. They were separate. There was some separated things. As a Fan says, yeah, that was a crap teacher move, but something similar was done when I was in junior high. Fool the class to make a point. Yeah, I mean, I can't remember another time that happened, but that was like what are we doing here? School for me was mostly fine. I did not have a lot of friends until high school that I went to school with. I had neighborhood friends, and that was fine. We did not have classes together because we were not in the same grade. Lord Crashington resubbed. That's a 55 months saying, hey, Pat, keep up the great work. Thank you so much, Lord Crashington. Let's throw... Whoops, that's the wrong button. I meant to do this. Let's throw the Barricade Lego site tier 2 blue emote in the chat. Thank Lord Crashington for their continued support. Well, we'll do the dance button there appropriately. Thank you, Lord Crashington, for making up for my mistake. I pressed the wrong button. Oh, yeah. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. My high school experience was better than any other grade because I was in clubs, and that was a lifesaver. Drama club, especially doing the technical elements of it, that was a lifesaver for me of having people and responsibility and learning a lot about the arts and tool and crafting and having responsibility that I took incredibly seriously. That was unbelievably helpful for me in my life. I'm grateful for it. But I had other things going on too. I was in band. I was terrible. I did chorus one year. I was okay. I had things going on. So high school was certainly better. I couldn't I couldn't like scam as much, especially with my mother in the school. But I got by. I got by on some stuff. There were still shenanigans. I had keys to the school because senior year, was in charge of a student play. We got the opportunity to do a small student production. So I got keys so that we could do after school stuff, which was fun. I would say certainly a part of that is because my mother worked there and had for many years. So people knew that they could just call my mom, and my mom wasn't going to be a parent who was going to be like clueless and mad at them being like, hey, your son did this, because she would find out as a teacher more than she would before she would find out as a student or as a student's parent. So, I couldn't really get away with too much, but I still got away with some shit. I won't lie. I still got away with some stuff. 'Cause you can do that a little bit when you understand the system and you are in some ways too smart for your own good. You can get away with some shenanigans because people are just like, oh yeah, all right, I'll believe you. That makes sense. Like my mom was my homeroom teacher, and I didn't go to homeroom. Because it was weird. I didn't want to go to homeroom because it was my mom. So I didn't go. And instead, I signed in at the library because the media communications class, the seniors communications class, would do morning announcements out of the library because that's where the studio was. And so I just went there. Now, was I in the media class? No, I was not in the communications class. Never took the communications class. It had a conflict with band, so I never did it. But I just went there, and the librarian was just like, yeah, all right, I don't care. Sure, I know you. I've known you forever. Great. You are in the same grade as my daughter. I have known you for many years. It's fine. It was a nice thing that I could do that. All right, we're going to put this on there. But yeah, I still got into shenanigans. But mostly, it was fine. A lot of my close friends were different grades than me. Most of them were a year younger than me in school. And when I was a freshman, most of my friends were a couple years older than me, which was really nice that they took me in under their wing. I was very grateful for that. That was very helpful. But yeah, most of the time school was bullying ended for me freshman year of high school. Like that was it. Once freshman year, I got bullied, and that ended pretty quickly. I think I've talked about this before, but it's been a long time, so I won't get too detailed into it. But I'm 5'10". 5'11" on a good day. I'm in between, but let's say 5'10". I'm 5'10", and in 8th grade, I was 5'9". And in 9th grade, I was 5'10". I had my growth spurt between 7th and 8th grade, and I shot up to 5'9", and then I finished off at 5'10". So I'm a freshman. I'm 5'10". I'm probably 200 pounds at that point. I don't want to paint a picture of me being muscular. I was not fit, right? I was like 100 and something pounds, maybe 180 pounds, maybe 200 pounds. I was just a big kid. I was just a big dude. I grew a beard my sophomore year because I wanted to see if I could, for the play, have a real beard, and then I made it into the Van Dyke that you see today. But yeah, I was just a big kid, right? So, well, what happens to freshmen, right? They get picked on by older kids because they got picked on when they were freshmen. It's a tradition, right? So, a thing that would happen is you would have lunch. Freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors would have lunch around the same time throughout, not all at once, but throughout. It wasn't by grade. It was by like classes or whatever to mix things together. So you at least see kids from other grades, even if you aren't interacting with them. You have an opportunity to see them, which theoretically is good. Okay, so this is the wrong piece. Yes, this is the wrong piece. I need this piece. Great, got it. You at least see kids and you whatever. Well, a thing that happened was as freshmen would walk this hallway into the cafeteria, the freshman beatdown line would happen. And that sounds way worse than it was, but it was still not cool. Where seniors walking by or just standing there waiting would push kids, push them around, make them understand, hey, you used to be an 8th grader and you were king of your grade because you were the oldest, right? It's like an 8th grader feels like responsibility and feels like, oh, there's all these young kids around. I'm a grown up. I'm a teenager. I'm in 8th grade. Well, now you're in 9th grade and you're dealing with 17-year-olds or maybe 18-year-olds by that point. And you're not the top of the food chain. You're the bottom of the food chain. You got to understand because that's what happened, right? Well, I was the 3rd biggest kid in my class. There was a guy who was on the basketball team. He was trying out for the basketball team. And he was better than the seniors. He was fucking great. He shouldn't have been going. He should have been a okay basketball player at a better school, is what I will say. And in fact, he did do that. He left junior year to go and play and be a backup on a much better team. But he was already great. He was tall. He was fine. But he was a sports guy, so he wasn't going to get bullied, right? And there was another guy that his dad was a cop. And so he didn't get picked on because his dad was a bad cop. He was an asshole cop. And his son was an asshole. So he didn't get picked on. I'm now, so by default, I am the biggest kid that you can pick on. Because they don't care that my mom is a teacher. They do not care about that. Why would they care about that then? They don't care. Because they're not actually delinquents. They're just older. And it makes sense, right? Because look at me. Like, imagine me 80 pounds lighter, a fucking loud goof. I'm sure I'm talking about like not Invader Zim, because that's later. I'm sure I'm talking about Ren and Stimpy and like the saxophone. I'm sure that I am talking about role-playing games on like chat room role-playing games on AOL. Like, I am sure that I am the dorkiest dork that ever dorked. And so it's just like, oh, you know, that's a kid you could push around. And one thing I'll say for myself, like, obviously, embellishing happens over the years. I am sure that I'm not getting every detail right here when I tell you about these things. But a thing that I need to stress to you is, I was solid. Like, I didn't have muscles. I had a keg. Like, I was dense. I was a dense kid. And you've got to really want to knock me down to knock me down. And especially if you are smaller than me. If you are smaller than me, what are you doing? And so a kid who had a Napoleon complex, who was smaller and lighter than me, and clearly, obviously, in hindsight, I understand, this kid was like 5'5" as a senior. He must have gotten bullied all the fucking time. He weighed nothing. He must have just been bullied, and it was only as a senior that he didn't get bullied as much. So he, of course, wanted to feel like a big guy and picked on a dude that he thought would cry when picked on. But instead, he went to shove me, and I didn't move. And then he tried again, and I didn't move. And then I shoved him into a locker, and it made the loudest noise you could possibly hear, and it echoed into the crowd. And then I said in my loudest Pat Bear voice, "I'll fucking kill you," which I'm sure my voice cracked. But you also have to understand that my voice is not deeper than it was in high school. Like, I grew, and my voice dropped at like 7th grade. And it's basically this voice, and it only, when it cracks, I get a little more high pitched. But basically, I just threatened to kill this little guy. And then somebody who was bigger than me went to shove me and then got shoved by the biggest kid in school who was on the basketball team, shoved that guy. And we were not friends. He was just tired of bullshit and decided to pick on someone that was his size. And it didn't devolve into a fight, but it definitely devolved into a bunch of people just being like, hey, what do you think this is? Why do you think we're going to be okay with this? And it became a whole fucking thing. And this is like a month into school, my freshman year, and I'm sitting waiting for the vice principal. And I'm like, my mom knows what's happening. It's fine. Am I going to get in school suspended for shoving a guy into a locker? I will apologize. Am I going to get in trouble for swearing? I'll apologize. Maybe I'll get sent home. Sure, whatever. It's fine. I don't care. I'm more upset that I didn't get lunch because I was on my way to lunch. Like, I don't know if it was pizza day, but it could have been pizza day. Like, that's, to me, more I'm upset about is I had to skip lunch because this dude I don't know shoved me. And so I meet with the vice principal, and he's an asshole because he's the vice principal, and I'm a teenager, so he sucks. I don't know for sure if he actually sucked or if he sucked because he was a vice principal and in a high school, but he sucked. And he's like, you can't swear. And I was like, I'm sorry, I got mad. And he's like, and you can't push people. And I was like, I know. And so I ask him, I just say, are there enough teachers to stop seniors from trying to knock me down? And he just goes, no. And I go, okay. And I say, he's like, I don't want to see you again. And I was like, I don't want to come back here. Like, I was being a fucking dick, but we all understand what's going on. As I said, I am too smart for my own good. At 14, I have it all figured out. I know what's going on. I understand the world and how it works. I'm a shitty teen. But I am right about that at the time. Like, I stand by it. I'm like, the teachers aren't going to stop these seniors from pushing people. These kids are going to pick on me again because I humiliated one of them. And I'm probably going to get into a fight. And I don't know how to fight. I don't know how to throw a punch. The fight I got to in school, because I only got in one fight in school. I kicked a kid in the shin and then he cried and that was it. And that was probably like second grade. And there's one other time where I I swung my bag so hard at a kid that he fell over because he wouldn't leave me alone. He was teasing me and being an asshole. And so I whipped my bag at him as hard as I could, and it was full of books, and he did not expect that. He expected me to cry or maybe tackle him, but I just whipped my bag as hard as I could at his face. And I had to that was not pleasant to deal with after the fact, and it was justified dealing with all that because he did bleed out of his nose. I did bust him open. And I'm not proud of that. It's just what happened in that situation. So in high school, that's the most I ever had was I got threatened a bunch for a little while. And that that tiny little man tried to knock me down a couple more times. And then I never, to my credit, I never threatened to kill him again. But I did laugh at him, and I probably made things worse. I should have just fallen over, I guess. I shouldn't have stood my ground, not budged, and laughed at him. That was childish of me. I should not have laughed at him. It was a different time. The only time I got in trouble in school since we're crashing was third grade after a hyper sugar day, hurting a kid in recess, which was supposed to be a week's detention that ended up being one day because they let me buy myself with no supervision for a while when my dad came to pick me up. Ah, so you got the like, hey, we're going to make this go away, huh? Oh, yeah, we made this go away? Great. Yeah, that happens on occasion. Sometimes you can just be like, so we're good here, right? But yeah, yeah, it never came to that much. And, you know, again, it certainly could have escalated. It didn't escalate because enough people were like, hey, we're not going to do this. Like, we're just not going to do this. And I will say this, sophomore year, to their credit, the now seniors who were juniors then did not knock freshmen down anymore. Times were changing. This was the mid-90s, and we were figuring it out. I will say that. Unfortunately, I can say that a guy who later became a real piece of shit himself, but in freshman year, a guy did try to join the basketball team and did get relentlessly teased and beat up because he was a Marilyn Manson fan and a big goth kid that wanted to play basketball, and they did not want him to play basketball. So it wasn't all great. It wasn't perfect. But we did stop random freshmen from just getting knocked over all the time, just trying to fucking go to lunch. So I'll give my class, the class of 99, we did solve one issue our freshman year. A sign that it wasn't in the internet era that wouldn't have made it a bigger deal. Yes. There are plenty of things that are just like, look, I'll say this. I was on the internet. And if I could have cyberbullied the person that was really annoying to me, I would have. But he wasn't on the internet, so I couldn't cyberbully him. But yeah, I also never got cyberbullied. My issue with the internet was a friend of mine kept talking on a bulletin board, a BBS, with a dude that was that went to another high school, and he was not into computers, but he got into getting into BBSs so he could talk to other teens when he was homeschooled for a while because he was under house arrest, and house arrest did not preclude him from being on the internet because the internet was so new, and he was going to pick her up. She was a freshman and I was a sophomore, and he was like definitely a old senior, and he had a car, and he was going to come pick her up, and they had never met before. And I remember being like, hey, don't do that. She ended up doing it, and it sucks. And she was okay, but it certainly fucking sucked. I was like, hey, don't. What? No, don't do that. Like, you don't. I'm looking for a piece that I can't find. But I was like fairly adamant that she should not go hang out with this dude that she had met on a local BBS. Yeah, and at one point I was like, so how do I tell her parents about this dude? Like, I was at that point, like, how do I anonymously rat on this dude? All right, so I can't find this piece I need. It is a curved piece here that is gray that has blue in it, and I don't see it. Now, this is an official Lego set. We're not fucking around here, friends. This is not a knockoff Lego set. So this piece should exist. I just can't find it. So I'm going to lift here to see if it's underneath. It's not. So it's not there. Okay. So now I need to sort through all. I've sorted bag 2. I'm now looking over here. I'm looking to see if there's any pieces in a random spot. It's been over a decade since I was missing a piece from a Lego. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is on me. This is me fucking up that I can't find this piece. So I'm now sorting through all of my gray. I'm going to go through all the gray I have here one by one. I lifted this up to see if it fell underneath. I can't find it. It is this piece here. It is gray and with a screen print of blue on it because they did screen printing like on this part here. So that is what I'm looking for. So I'm now going to slowly go through every gray piece I have here. trying to see if I can find it among there. Here it is. Great. Whew, thank God. It was like this. So that's why I couldn't find it. It was like that, and because I was looking for blue among the gray. Again, not I didn't lose it. I just didn't sort it properly. Thank fucking God. Anyway, high school was fine. I spent a lot of time on AOL RPGs, which was its own fun nonsense. I did that way more than I did just about anything in school. I think the number one, like, go to school, do homework, help run an AOL RPG. That was probably the most I did. Those are the things I did the most. And then probably band, play saxophone in the band. Did plenty of that. All right, so I need a 1x1, a 1, just a 1 off, and then the cap here. There it is. Great. AOL RPGs bring me back. Yeah, friends. There were chat rooms on AOL, and you could be an association, a website that ran them, or that ran chat rooms. Like AOL keywords. You could have an AOL keyword and then run RPGs. And you could do /roll and various other shortcuts and stuff to do things if you wanted to, of course, run RPGs. And then you have members and all that, and there were chat rooms, and there were private rooms to run battles and message boards and all kinds of stuff. And I did a White Wolf inspired, not the exact one, but playing with the systems. And I was a administrator for games. My mom was very worried about me using the internet back in the AOL keyword days, so she would watch me as I used them. I was in 5th grade at the time. Yeah, I mean, I was older than you doing that. My parents' internet supervision was, okay, well, we'll do that. We'll get that. Okay, well, we have this now. Do we have to pay for AOL? Okay, well, we'll pay for AOL. Now it's part of your allowance. Okay, well, how long are you doing this? Well, how many hours are you putting in for this? What are you doing? Okay, and, they would ask questions. My mom was a teacher, as I said, so she understood some things about it. My dad has never understood the internet. He was most happy when I could tell him the touring schedule of bands that he liked. When I told him, when he complained that he didn't know that a band had come to town, and I was like, well, Dad, they probably have a website. And I went and typed in the website of the band and was like, yeah, here they're going to be in, they're going to be at Toad's place on August 5th or whatever. My dad was so happy with the internet because now he knew about that. Oh, that was such a breakthrough for him to know. So every once in a while he would go, hey, can you look up the discography of this band or whatever? So that was my dad's interaction with the internet, was asking me to look up stuff, or be like, the TV guide doesn't say when football's on or whatever, or we didn't get the guide today. Can you look up this? And I would be like, I don't have that information, Dad, or whatever. I'll be like, yeah, let me go on Southern New England television, whatever, and look it up for you. I did a lot of that for my dad. That was our love language. Me explaining when bands were coming to town and such. Or if a group album had come out on sale yet. He could we go to Strawberries and get that album? I could tell him. All right. Enough nostalgia, very specific nostalgia. Instead, promotional work. Hi, I'm Pat Baer. We're at the part of the stream where I'm going to talk to you, the viewers of Pat Baer's the Build with Bear Workshop. Sorry, I recorded a new episode of Pat Baer's Anime Club right before the stream, so it's fresh in my mind. If you are currently a subscriber to the Build with Bear Workshop, you can throw the Bear Cave, the Lego, the Scythe, the Tier 2 Blue emote in the chat. Being a subscriber is the easiest way to support what I do here through Cash Money, using your Prime Gaming token. If you have Amazon Prime, Liquid, or Twitch, you get that token. You can use it for anyone. Why not use it for me? Or Cash Money. We saw that Lord Crashington has been a subscriber for 55 months. So you get cool emotes. You don't see ads. That's honestly, the emotes are fun, especially if you're a constant viewer. Not seeing ads is the best. It's just great. Twitch ads aren't fun or good, and so you should not watch them, and instead pay Twitch a small amount of money and me a small amount of money to not really see those things. It's pretty great. Just saying. But you can also use your Prime Gaming token as well. And if you do have Amazon and you do get that token, please use it. You got to use it. If it's for me or for somebody else, that's money on the table. You should do that. Again, all that I'm going to talk about here are optional. You don't have to do any of these things. But if you would like to, oh boy, if you want to, you get to. I should tell you that I have a Patreon at patreon.com/PatBear. There's a $1, $3, $5, and $10 tier. There are different rewards for different tiers. Consider joining me on Patreon. My $3, $5, and $10 patrons got to vote on what I'm doing next Tuesday. You can still vote too if you are one of those tiers. If you want to join in, join in. Let's see. Over on YouTube, obviously becoming a subscriber to YouTube is free, and it would be great for me if you want to join me on YouTube. But you could also become a member over there. And for just $2 a month, you get my Wednesday videos on Tuesday. You get to jump ahead. So you'll know about the next romantic comedy anime that I'm talking about, because all through February, I'm talking about romantic comedy anime, because it's the love month, you know, Valentine's and all that. So you'll get that ahead of everybody else, which is pretty cool. Those are all monthly ways to support me financially. So if you just want to drop $1 or $2 now and again, you could, instead of a monthly contribution, you could, of course, go to my PayPal or my Ko-Fi and make a one-time donation, and that would be rad. And everything I make through direct donations, through Patreon, through Twitch, through YouTube, which includes AdSense, so watching my videos helps me out as well, goes into a fund, and from that fund, I buy model kits. And I have a backlog of model kits and Lego sets, stuff that I actually, just model kits right now. I don't have any Lego on backup right now. But I have lots of model kits that I would be happy to build. I just pre-ordered a new model kit that's coming in the summer. I have a pre-order that's coming this month. I've got stuff to build. I'm working on this right now because Aristofan bought it off my Amazon wish list. So if you want to decide what I build and have it jump the queue, and also even get a dedicated YouTube video about the thing that you purchased, well, you should hop over to my Amazon wish list and see if there's something there you'd like to buy, and you could buy for me, and then I'll build it on stream ahead of everything else. I just added a few new things here pretty recently. I've got Lego sets, I got model kits, I got inexpensive kits, expensive kits, kits that never seem to go on sale, kits that are always reasonably priced and have Prime shipping or just free shipping or whatever. A bunch of things. I added some new stuff. There's like 1 or 2 pre-orders in there because why not? But a bunch of things that I would love to build if you wanted to pay for it. And then again, jump the queue, make its own video. And there's some gear at the bottom because maybe you want to support me, but you don't know what to spend, how to do that. And so you just want to buy some gear. You could do that. And I try to keep that pretty fresh and all that. I have a Throne, which is my alternative to Amazon. I do need to update that because a few things that are on my list are no longer in stock. I've been meaning to do it. I just never get around to it because I'm going to be honest with you, friends. No one has ever bought anything from me from Throne. I have an alternative to Amazon, and that's great, and I'm going to keep using it. But no one's ever bought anything there, so I'm never rushing to keep it updated. Maybe I should. Maybe I should make a big push with Throne. And the most convoluted way to support me is, of course, USA Gundam Store. Go to USA Gundam Store, buy a gift card. They send you an email with the gift card code. Then copy and paste and send that code to me via a DM or a whisper here on Twitch, or a DM on Twitter, as I say. You could do that. more people have done that than buy something from me from Throne, which is weird. All over on my Discord, you can hang out if you want to support me and not spend any money. You can just hang out in the Discord. That would be lovely. Love to have you there. A couple video links for you to check out. I will have a new episode of Pat Bear's Anime Club up on Monday. The most recent one on Pat Bear's Anime Club is recommendations from this season. So if you haven't watched anything from this anime season that's happening right now, I got some recommendations, and all 4 shows I recommend I'm still watching, including Solo Leveling, which I just got caught up on, and holy shit. I mean, I've read the whole manhwa. I know what happens in Solo Leveling, but god damn, they animated the fuck out of these fights. It was real fucking good. This most recent episode of Solo Leveling. Holy shit. Shit is popping off. And then Kuma Baer, your weekly anime recommendation. That's right. I recommend anime. 2 videos of anime recommendations, but from different mediums. And this one is about the anime Shikimori's Not Just a Cutie. It is a lovely series. If you have not watched Shikimori's Not Just a Cutie, you should check it out. Watch the video. The shortest of short pitches on that show is that they're dating when the show starts. Amazing, right? It is not a will they, won't they. It is a, oh, let's check in with these newly dating people. It's pretty fucking good. So check out that Kuma Baer video. I am very thankful that people are watching it on YouTube and Instagram because my previous one about Oshinoko did not have views on YouTube, which is the only one of TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. YouTube is the other one where I could theoretically make a little bit of money, so it's good that people are watching. TikTok is abysmal for all my stuff, but that's okay because that's not really a platform that I use anyway. And Instagram is the nice thing about Instagram is that I have been hearing from people who are like, hey, I watched that show you recommended. Frieren is really good. And I'm like, yes, yeah, I did it. Speaking of which, we are going to talk about the latest episode of Frieren Beyond Journey's End, and then also another anime in just a moment, because it's almost anime time continuing. But before I get into talking about how good these episodes were, it's important for me to drink some water and dramatically transition back to the overhead, where we can look at this cool NOS thing going here in just a moment. But we'll dramatically transition right now. Enjoy the transition. All right, before I talk about anime, this is where Paul Walker is going to sit. Paul's going to sit here, and then you can see that this is where the NOS is, so that we can boost. Those are NOS tanks, and that is a good detail because this is not just any old GTR-34. It's the GTR-34 from Too Fast, Too Furious. Too Fast, Too Furious is the name of the movie. That's right. Instead of Fast and the Furious 2, they called it Too Fast, Too Furious because that was the style of the time. If you want to feel old, look up what the fences were stealing and fencing, and what ring were they trying to break up in the first Fast and Furious movie, because it might make you feel old to know what that's about. Maybe it won't make you feel old, but it might make you feel old. Just when wearing onions on your belt was in fashion. Indeed. That was the fashion of the time. All right, we gotta build a shifter in here. We'll put this one in first because it'll be easier to put in. But yeah, gotta put in our shifter. We're also gonna talk about some anime. I got 2 anime episodes to chat with you about. Frieren, Beyond Journey's End, and the Unwanted Undead Adventurer. Let's get into the first episode of Frieren here. Harold says, my cousin CJ was a big Fast and Furious fan, and he named his dog, which my parents now have, Walker, after Paul Walker. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, Harold. I like that. That's a nice anecdote. Thank you for sharing. Walker is also a good name for a dog. except for the part where people might ask if it's a Texas Ranger. Because that's a little bit what some people would associate with the name Walker, is Walker Texas Ranger. And that's not the worst thing in the world either, I guess. He's a good dog. Hell yeah, Harold. The first Fast and Furious is quaint for when that series has gone later on. Oh, yes. I mean, here's the thing. The first movie is supposed to be cool in a dangerous way. And the second movie is like, let's amp up the cool and like a little dangerous here and there, but like, eh. And the third movie, which is the direct-to-video cash-in movie, which, you know, was not canon and it is canon. That's why most of the other films are before it, because they just did whatever. Doesn't have the stars in it. But that movie is just fucking cool as hell. Tokyo Drift is just cool. And then they become action series, and then they are international thieves and also freedom fighters, and people, characters die, but they're not dead, but who cares? But they are dead. Except for the character who doesn't die, he just leaves and retires because they needed to do that. Which is still respectful and good on them. Good on them, I should say. People that secretly save the world from cyber criminals in subs. Yes. Cool cars and science. They make it happen. Anyway, I want to tell you about Frieren, Beyond Journey's End. Round 1 of the first class mage exam is over. And now we just get to have people hanging out. Just hanging about. This is, we've had some action. We had some battles. We've got round 2 coming up. But right now, round 1 is, there's an intermission. So we're just going to we're not going to go fully back. Nathan, I mean, as long as you're not being an asshole about it, you can judge people, I guess. But like, also some people do skip to 5 because it's almost a different thing. 4 and 5, 4 to a extent is the bridge, but like, I get it. FF5 is very different from Too Fast, Too Furious. It is the same franchise, but it's an evolution. I get it. I'm not going to talk any more about Fast and the Furious. I want to talk about Frieren. So Frieren and Fern come back, and then Fern is mad at Stark because Stark has just been hanging out and drinking. Stark has not been doing anything really. He's probably been doing other things, but anyway, they're arguing. They're young. Frieren is like, well, let's all go out to eat. There's a restaurant in this city, and I haven't been to it in 80 years, but I was excited to go. And we get some of the most Frieren ass like shit here. Not Frieren the character, Frieren the series, because Decken, who's also old but not Frieren old, is also going to this restaurant, and they run into each other, and Frieren is just like, when I was here with Himmel, the owner said that this recipes were never going to change, and you eat today, you eat in 100 years, it's the same. And she's like, it's not the same. It's actually better than it was then. They got tastier. And that's just very of the show. There's some interactions with a bunch of other characters. Some binding spells. There's some cloning magic and some stealing stuff. But everyone kind of like decides like we're going to be cool. Mostly everyone's going to be cool. But there's some arguments and various things. People are learning about each other because a bunch of these mages are going to be involved in the next series of tests. So they're kind of interacting. Frieren gets baked goods from the 2 wizards for helping them out that she was paired with on her group, which is very fun. And Frieren has another flashback of Himmel, the hero, she remembers him telling him that he became a hero because changing a person's life, even in a small way, will cause them to remember him long after he is gone, which is another lovely sentiment because this is a series that has its foot firmly, planted in the past and in the future, or in the present, I should say. And then everyone's talking, and they get a notification for the second test, and a bunch of people are bummed out because the current head of the Mages Association, the woman the man Sensi, is proctoring the test, and or she is, I should say, sorry, she is proctoring the test, and no one has ever passed one of her tests. This is the mage that will give you any spell, the current head, the person that said that Frieren had no drive and no real interest in magic. And of course, Frieren's teacher was like, but she is driven by one thing. She's going to defeat the Demon Lord. And turns out that was right. So we do have that to look forward to. Also, the barrier got broken by Frieren previously, so that should be interesting. So again, this was a very chill episode. This was a lot of like, let's see this character kind of interact with what's going on for them. We're doing a lot of the dials and such on the dash. We're doing a lot of dash work here, so we're going to get some dash stuff done. But yeah, we got to see a lot of characters interact with each other. It was peaceful right after the pretty violent episodes that we saw here, where it almost looked like some people were going to kill each other for that test. That did not happen, so we'll see what happens in the future. I do know what happens in the future. It just depends on how they choose to animate it, because, also, there could be some changes to various things, because artistic license and all that. It's been pretty faithful to the source material, I'll say, but, you never know. If you're not watching Frieren, it started last season. It's a 2-core, and it's gorgeous and beautiful, and I would recommend it if you're not watching Frieren. It's real, real good. It is easily the best show of the season. And so I would, it's not the best new show of the season, but it's certainly the best show of the season. Pretty much without a doubt. All right, we got that in here. Kind of see in there a little bit, the dash, and then the nitrous and all of that. Can probably put Paul here now. Maybe we don't need to do that. Maybe I'm jumping the gun, but at some point we got to put our driver in here. All right. The other show, the Unwanted Undead Adventurer. So, Rent, who, this is the guy that he is currently a version of a ghoul. He is attempting, maybe even a vampire, somewhere in a vampire. He is attempting to become some sort of close to human monster. And he's keeping his identity a secret. So he's a new adventurer, and he's gotten the opportunity, after doing a bunch of stuff, to take the exam to become bronze. He was for 10 years, he was an iron rank adventurer and was never going to advance. So this is now uncharted territory for him, but maybe he can do something incredibly cool, and something that he'd always dreamed to be able to do. So he gets a perfect score on the written exam, which makes total sense. He gets partnered with some people for the practical exam, with a swords person and a sorceress. So you got, your mage and your swords person, and he can obviously use some magic, but he's also adept at weapons. So he has to, there's a labyrinth, and there are no rules, but they have to work together to, okay, so this one is blank, and then the NOS button is here, put that there. So they have to work together, and there are no rules. So they realize the map they were given is really out of date. So these two people are basically being carried by the incredibly knowledgeable, adventurer who's also a monster, secretly. They buy a better map because on purpose they got one that's not that great because that's part of the test. And then they get ambushed by another party because there are no rules. So instead of it being a race, you can delay other people or take them out. So they kind of quickly get into it, and he's able to support them in order to fight because Rhett understands this is all part of the test. Like, this is totally 100% part of the test. There are people watching him, that he is aware that they are watching him. And he kind of puts it together that some of the people that are attacking them are also part of the guild. And then also they're there to protect people and all that. Yeah, he's like, oh, there's their examiners just trying to make it harder. And apparently the guild master is like, this guy came out of nowhere and is very strong. So we need to keep an eye on him. So unfortunately, Rhett, who does want to kind of keep a low profile, people have gotten notice of him because he's got great skills and he's very knowledgeable, and it's weird. They make it to the boss room, but then another party shows up. These are not plants. These are other adventurers, and they act really cocky. And then Rhett is just like, yeah, you can go ahead. That's fine. Because he knows what the boss is, and he knows these people are not going to be able to handle it. And there are examiners hiding to make sure that they are safe, to rescue them if necessary. And nobody actually dies, which encourages the party that he's with. Hey, I think it's time, we'll be okay, especially with this seasoned guy. Like I said, they're having to support, but he is carrying them. And they are at least starting to become aware of that. And we're going to see in the next episode this boss fight, which is probably going to be a squash. Probably going to be pretty easy, using some wrestling terminology there. I love this episode because I've read so much of this manga that seeing a character who was such a good guy, who was stuck in his limitations, who is dealing with some weird stuff, some very weird stuff, but is still a positive dude, is trying his best to make the most of his situation, but is now, because of these powers of his, it can live the life that he wanted to, or at least approach the life that he wanted to live before. And that's why you're like, well, why is he trying to be an iron adventurer or bronze adventurer, to say, when he could, the wrong people could take notice of him. It was like, well, he just has that desire and drive to do the thing that he couldn't do in his previous life. So it's neat. I don't know. It's a good story. I think it's beautifully animated. There were some stuff in there that, like, a little CGI here and there, but for the most part, it's gorgeous looking. And I really appreciate everything that they do to make the Unwanted Undead Adventurer. It is a loving production. So that's a show that I feel like other people aren't going to be talking about or aren't going to be telling you should check out. But I think it's well worth your time. And I won't probably talk when I do my month of, here are my favorite shows from the winter 2024 season. I won't talk about it because saying undead means I will be saying dead a lot. And so that's not good for any algorithm, which sucks. I could say the Unwanted Unalive, but that's not the name of the anime. So I won't be talking about that in my wrap-ups, which is a shame. I'll just have to talk about Villainous and several villainesses and Fluffy Paradise and Solo Leveling, probably. Living Impaired, yes. Unalive is what a lot of people do in subtitles or captions. I should say, not subtitles. In captions, people say unalive. They say dead out loud, but they write unalive. But that's why I didn't recommend, when I talked about my favorite shows last year in this video series, I did not say Undead Girl Murder Farce, or Undead Murder Farce, I should say. Girl is the novels. Undead Murder Farce. I didn't say Undead Murder Farce. I didn't recommend Undead Murder Farce because I was gonna have to say Undead, and I was like, I bet that does not fly. I bet this gets, this doesn't reach people, which is the whole point of doing them. Me doing my Wednesday series is, there are several reasons for doing it. We're going to get into some video game talk, but I'll just say there are several reasons for me doing that, because people ask now and again, I can tell you. It is to have a routine, consistent uploading of things, consistent making things, to build. The hope is so people that don't know me see videos and things that I make and maybe get to know me. It is promotion and all that. It is the process of recording and doing light editing and being consistent, because consistency works well for my brain. Having routines is good for me. I thrive for it. And in a world where I don't control a lot about my schedule because of doing freelance and doing contract work and all that, I don't get a lot of say in those things. So to be able to make my own decisions in that regard is very fulfilling for me. And then also, a thing that is probably more important than building whatever, building the brand, building, like, telling people, like, having people discover what I do and who I am is, maybe last year's project made people laugh. I hope I made a few people chuckle with my character work. I hope that Barely Rehearsed made a few people laugh and enjoy it. And then this series, I hope that Kuma Baer leads to people checking out some of these shows. It would make me feel so fucking good if I recommended someone's new favorite show. Or even just like, hey, I watched 3 episodes of that. Yeah, you're right. That's a fun show. Oshino, I got High Dive. I tried a trial for High Dive so I could watch Oshinoko because you recommended it. Like, you pushed me over because other people were talking about it or whatever. Like, yeah, Pat, you're right. I did want to check out that show. Ice Guy and his cool female colleague is good. You're right, Pat. Like, I want to that. Like, I want people to find their next favorite thing. That makes me happy to think about. So that is one of the reasons why I do those kind of things. The same way I talk about anime on these streams, not just because I realized that if I talk about the shows I'm watching, that's something I can do every stream. And so I don't have to look at the news or think of stories from my life to talk about every single stream. I know I can always talk about the anime I'm watching, but I don't just talk about stuff that, like, for some part from it is like, I want you to know about these things. Obviously, last year, I spent a good portion of the year talking about Helk, a show that I loved and then by the end of it did not love. And that was mostly like, I wanted to keep up with it and be like, hey, here's the update of another episode I didn't love about Helk. Like, that was for me mostly. That wasn't really being like, hey, let's talk about the show. And also, some of you watch the shows along, and so you can be like, yeah, that did happen in this episode. Yeah, you're right. I did like that episode of this. It's fun for me to talk about those things. Now's the part of the stream where I want to hear from you. What are you watching right now? What are you playing? What are you reading? What's got you going? Are you working on any model kits? Let me know in the chat what you got going, and I will tell you that I've played a few more demos. I played a few more demos from Next Fest. Not a lot of them, but I did play a few. So I'm going to look this up here and let you know what I got going on. Hey, there's a knockoff. So again, you throw them in the comments or whatever if you played any demos or anything like that or played any games. People are just making their own Mega Man games. Like, that's not a new statement. Hey, newsflash, people are making their own Mega Man games, but Berserk Boy's fucking good, y'all. Berserk Boy, that's some good games. Harold, you played a few demos on stream. Nice. Yeah. I could have done that on Tuesday, but instead we did Lego Fortnite, and I'm glad we did. But I could have done some of that. But yeah, this is not just a Mega Man. This is Mega Man X inspired. So it's that era of Mega Man. Berserk Boy's like dashing and jumping and unlocking stuff. And it's pretty fucking good, y'all. I'll say this. It feels good to play. And that's, I would say, the most important thing if you're going for that. But yeah, that was good. And then there's I know a lot of people really like this, apparently. And I don't have to like everything that people like, and they don't have to like the things I like. But I will say, based on the love it was getting, I wanted to put some time into. Sorry, I'm trying to find a piece I need. I tried to put some time into Mullet Mad Jack, which is like kind of cyberpunky, but kind of anime. Anime like 80s anime, 90s anime inspired. Like first person shooter. Like it's high on vibes, but I didn't enjoy my time with it. And maybe it's just the demo. Maybe like the demo was so fast paced and the rest of it is going to like relax a little bit. It's going to like cool out. But I don't know. It felt like I just didn't vibe with it. Let's see what else. I gotta scroll down in my list here. Go over to this list here. There we go. Here we go. Pacific Drive is coming out very soon. That's like a kind of gorgeous sim, like very weird Pacific Northwest, like U.S. Stalker, the game, not being a stalker, kind of inspired. It's fucking like the vibes are good. The vibes are really good in Pacific Drive. Like I think this is a demo you should fucking check out. You're just like a random dude that got sent to a weird place and you don't know why, and you're just trying to fucking figure that shit out and make sense of the world you're in, and it's just like really good. And you're in a station wagon. Lastwick says, I don't think that game is ever gonna relax. Yeah. I love the idea of stalker in a car. That's just a good premise for a video game. Like, even if that's not necessarily my speed, I thought the atmosphere of it was so strong that I was fully invested in that demo. And then, sorry, let me get all the pieces I need here before I check in with what y'all have been writing, and then also make sure I have all the parts I need for this. Then I need this piece. I need this piece. And then I need a 1x corner. Okay, so now I think I have all the pieces I need. This is already on my wish list, and I almost wish I hadn't played this because it's Summer House. I will say, this is coming out March 8th. I have requested a code for Summer House because they reached out to me first saying like, hey, would you like to request a code for Summer House? And I was like, yes. Sorry, I had a piece here that just flew out of my hand, and I don't know where it went. We have I don't think I have I don't have the oh, I found it. Great. It fell into my lap, and I found it. Summer House. At the very least, I requested a code for this game that's coming out March 8th. I don't know if there's still a chance they won't give it to me, but they did. They were the ones that offered me the code. So I assume I won't get a code for Summer House. But I did enjoy my time with that. It's a little building game. It's just a sandbox, like building a town like thing. And it's not like, oh, they have a sandbox mode. No, the whole game is a sandbox. It is a chill city builder, a cute looking like diorama city builder that is 100% my vibe and my style. And I really liked the demo. As I said, because it's coming out so soon, and I believe I am getting a code for it, I almost didn't want to play it. But then I was like, no, I want to play it. So those are all the games I played. I do have, I have like one thing left on my list I didn't get to. Star Trucker, I did not play the demo, so maybe I'll be able to talk about on Monday. Star Trucker, that is a game that I would like to check out, but I did not play it yet. I'm going to make a note of that in my notes here to check out Star Trucker. Y'all have been saying in chat, hello. You can continue writing if you've been playing or reading or watching or doing anything. You can let me know in chat. That Harold checked out a few demos on Steam or on stream last night. That's great. You did say that, and I did already know that. But that's awesome. Lashbrook says, I've been trying to catch up on Twin Peaks because next thing they're finishes it on Monday. Oh, yeah. Season 2 of Twin Peaks. Is that where they're at? I'm very hit or miss with the Watchcast. Their podcast about, watching shows or movies. I was pretty caught up with a lot of the movies because I had seen a lot of them. And of course, I should say, I've seen Twin Peaks. I've seen season 2 of Twin Peaks, but I'm not watching it again for the podcast. But I am listening to the podcast because it's fun. Season 2 has been fun because you get the season 1 was, wait, that's where the reference comes from? That was a constant thing of wait, that was a Twin Peaks thing? That's really fun. And season 2 is, I hate these people, I hate these characters, what the fuck? And so that's been fun. You got the Mega Man Humble Bundle and finally beat Mega Man X for the first time in my life. Hell yeah, Lastbrook. Yeah, folks, never sleep on those Humble Bundles. Sometimes you could just knock off a game off of your list that's been on your list for years. Ghostfowl says, still doing the Elden Ring Payday 3 with the crew. Got my decks for, MagicCon Chicago. And possibly starting another hobby with watchmaking. Ooh, okay. Well, good luck with that. That is certainly patience required with watchmaking, but it's never too early to get into watchmaking. So yeah, enjoy. I hope that it's something that you enjoy doing. But yeah, I'm glad you got your decks together. Have fun at MagicCon. Fuck yeah. Aristfan's trying several games, but keep going back to Infinite Wealth. It's now the Like a Dragon game that I've played the most. Nice, Aristfan. I played so much of Zero that when I play Infinite Wealth, because at some point I will play it, I just haven't. I don't know if I would put as much hours, but God, I put a lot of hours into Zero. Zero's so fucking good. I've been playing more. This is Lord Crash says, I've been playing more Final Fantasy VII Remake. Oh, yeah, because we're getting more of 7, which is I'm in the side quest chapter right now. I tried out the Skull and Bones open beta, and that sure is a game that I don't want to play until it's on a service, since there are way more interesting games coming out soon. Yeah. I mean, I have no interest in Skull and Bones. I would like Skull and Bones to come out because so many people have worked on that game that I would like them to have credit, to get bonuses if those exist, or to move on to something else in their life, or to be able to tell people hey, a game I worked on actually came out. I want that to be out more than I want to play it because I just have no interest in playing it. But I would like that game to be done for the sake of people who worked on it, including some people that I know. Lord Christ says, I downloaded a bunch of demos, but not really played any of them. Well, you've got some time still, but you should probably try to play a few of those. If you want. But yeah, you certainly could play. So we're not going to finish this tonight. We've got some time left on stream, friends. We're going to keep working on this kit, or this Lego set. We are going to certainly, as I assume, finish this. It will be weird because there's only 4 more stickers, or 6 more stickers. So that's a good indication of how much we have left here. We're definitely, I assume, finishing this on Monday. So tomorrow I will put out a poll on Patreon for my $10 patrons to decide what we do next. They'll figure out what I'm going to be building next. I've got some high grades. I've got some newer high grades and some older high grades. I still have 2 kits that I've had for at least this year. I'm not surprised that no one has really voted too hard for the Gundam Age normal. I would have assumed that people would have voted for the Sandrock when that was eligible, because why wouldn't you want me to build the Sandrock, my least favorite high grade? A kit that came out in 2019. It was the beginning of we're doing new versions of the wing kits, and I have not built it until now. I built every other ones. I built the hell that's over here, and the what else? I built the bonuses, the the heavy arms, 2. Like, I've built the extra ones that have come out since those came out, that are premium Bandai. I built those before I built the one that came out first, that I just never got around to and then bought because it was actually a good price. But I was assuming at some point someone's going to want to make me build that. So, and the normal, Gundam Age Normal is just a good looking kit. I'd like to build that. I mean, I will someday. Also, at some point, you know me, at some point I can just be like, well, I'm building this now, and I'll just do that. At some point I will just decide we're building this next. I don't think I'm going to do that with the Gundam Maxter. Is that the next one that's coming out? Let me look to see. I did buy one premium Bandai kit, friends. I did pre-order premium Bandai kit. I'll talk about that here in a second. Let me just find it. I got to sign in here because I don't remember the actual name. It is a Witch from Mercury kit that I did pre-order that will come out in the summer, I believe. So let me just check my order history here for the 3 that have not. Yeah, all right. So there's these. It is the Heingra. The Heingra is a... we can bring it up a photo of it. The Heingra is a variation of the Hindry. So it is a grunt. So we'll just do that. We find it here. And that's coming out, I believe, in the summer. But I just pre-ordered that today last night. Because, again, I had some money come in and decided that pre-ordering a cool kit would be great. Here's the Heingra. You can see that right there. It's very similar to the Hindry, which we've built 2 variations of the Hindry already. But this one's a different color and has a cool shield and a gun that we certainly built before. But we've built these. I don't know. The price wasn't bad, and I like buying premium Bandai kits now and again. You're very tempted to get that, says Lashbrook. Yeah, that was the one that I was like, this is the one I'm going to spend my money on. And then, of course, in November, I pre-ordered the Maxter, which is coming out in April, I believe. And then this month, I believe it's coming out this month. Yes, it's shipping this month in actually a couple weeks. It is not a new release. It is an old kit, but it is the clear version of an old kit. We've already built it on stream, but we haven't built the clear version. The Devil Gundam. The 144 scale Devil Gundam kit. It is the clear version of it. It is goddamn gorgeous. And I am excited to build that. That kit just looks so... I love a clear kit. The price was right. I'm excited to put that together. That is coming out this month. I got a shipping notification. Not that it shipped, that it's going to ship soon. Actually, let me see if I saved that. Did I star that? That's the order confirmation. That's okay. I was just looking up for premium. Premium Bandai. Let's see. Pre-order production. Yeah. Okay. Looks like estimated shipping begins on the 20th. So I should get that by the end of the month. Obviously it might be in March, beginning of March when I get it, but it looks like fairly soon I will get that. And then I don't think it's not a death scythe. You know what I mean? Death scythes jump the queue. If there's a new death scythe and it appears, we build it as soon as possible. It jumps the queue. It becomes the next thing that I work on. But I don't think I'm going to do that with the Devil Gundam or the Gundam Maxter or anything like that. I think those are just those go into the list. And then if someone's bought something from my wish list or whatever, that takes precedent. That always takes precedent, except for death sites. Death sites take precedent over everything. Because this is a stream where I build death sites. And nothing else. And everything else, but the premier death scythe model kit builder on Twitch. All right. That's going to do it for tonight's stream. We're going to wrap it up there. I think we're on step 93 now. We have 108 steps. So we're definitely going to finish this kit up, or this Lego setup, I should say, on Monday. We'll wrap that up because we got to build like some stuff in the front here. Got to put this all together, put on the roof and all that. So we'll get into some more building here next stream. We'll go to this. I want to thank you, friends, for watching tonight. I hope you had a good night. I had a good time on a fine Saturday evening. Next stream will be on Monday. As always, I said we're going to work on Lego Manga Monday. I'll talk about some manga that I'm watching that I think you might like as well. And I'll try to encourage you to check that out. We are going to raid. That is how we end every stream around here. Is we're going to go hang out with some people doing some cool shit and give them some love. But I need to see, as John says, we always end with a raid. Yeah, I got to see who we're raiding, though. Who's doing stuff? What are you up to? What's going on? Let's look. How long has this person been streaming? Because they're a friend who we don't raid that often. Let's see. What are they into? How long have they been going? They've been streaming for 4 hours, but they're a streamer that goes pretty long, though. You know what? We're going to raid Liz. I don't know if Liz is going to wrap up because sometimes Liz streams for 3 hours, which would be, obviously, this is now almost 4. But sometimes they stream for 5 or 6 hours. So at the very worst, Liz will be streaming for a little while longer, and then Liz will raid someone else, and we'll just keep the party going. So we're gonna do that. I want to thank everybody for joining me tonight. I hope you will go on a raid and hang out with me and Liz and Liz's friends, because apparently Liz is on a call with some friends playing some games. Liz is playing some RPGs with friends, which is great. So I hope you come along this raid. I hope to see you on the next stream. I want to say goodbye, everybody, okay? Have a great night. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy the big game. I would say don't bet on Usher having a good halftime show. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.